Hello and welcome. My name is Andre Pickens, and I'm here to teach you something today. So the first thing I'm going to teach is it was actually a question that someone came up with on the YouTube channel, which was about how or why they're having a really tough time selling low ticket. All right, now I have experience with this because I actually sold high ticket for years. And when I started moving into the low ticket market, I started finding that it was actually harder to sell. I don't at the time I didn't really know why this was the case. It seems counterintuitive. Like, okay, it would be easier to sell something that's cheaper. This is not true. And some of the things I'm going to tell you today are exactly why it's really difficult for people to sell at low ticket prices. All right. Now, businesses should learn both low ticket and high ticket, right? And there's a lot of commonality between them. For example, the first commonality between them is people buy with emotions but justify with logic. All right, now you embed this into your brain. People buy with emotions, with their feelings, but they justify with logic. They go, "Wow, this thing it really has caught my attention. I feel that, but is this worth it to me for X, Y, reason, whatever reason, right?" So people buy with their emotions, but justify with logic. Think about the last time you bought something. It doesn't matter if it's low or high ticket, whether you went and rented time on a yacht or you happened to buy a book, whatever. When you bought the book, you went, that's interesting. Well, it's something you felt at the time that you saw the book, right? And then let's say what the book topic was. Well, the book's topic was on, I don't know, how to sell low ticket. You went, that actually makes sense. I've been having that problem. Let me buy that, right? It caught your interest. You felt something about it, and it was relevant to what you were looking for, right? So this means interest plus relevancy. Okay? When you grab someone's interest and it's relevant to their problems, it's really easy to sell. Doesn't matter what level they are. High ticket, low ticket. Okay? So keep this in mind as we move forward. Now, the first reason why people have a really tough time with selling low ticket is they don't know their audience. They don't know their audience. Okay? Now, what does this mean? Sometimes we get this amazing idea in our mind about a product that we're like, yeah, hey, this is a good idea. I'm going to go put it out there and we'll just see what happens. But their audience is crickets. Let's say they have, 1,000 followers. And it's even an engaged following of 1,000 people on, say, Instagram or TikTok. But no matter how many times you attempt to sell to them, it doesn't work. It's because you're not understanding your audience. You don't know what your audience is looking for. Okay? You have no idea what your audience is looking for. You are hoping that they will be okay with the offering that you present, but it tends not to go that way sometimes. So this is where you have to actually engage with your audience so that so you can get an understanding of what it is they're looking for. So let's say you have an idea for a book. You have an idea for a book, it's on health, and you want to help people who have health issues. Maybe they have breathing problems, and you're like, hey, I can help with that, right? But let's say your book, the title, just use that as an example, doesn't have anything to do with health in it or breathing, right? Because that's their problem. So if you go, hey, I got this health book, they may go, oh, that's great, but is it relevant to my thing? Well, no. So because it's not relevant, doesn't matter, they pass, right? That moves us to the next thing. Too generic. If your stuff is too generic, people are like, well, how is this any different than the other thing? Right? See, at high ticket, this becomes very obvious because they're getting your time, they're getting your energy, they're getting or whatever resources you happen to provide, they're getting access to a lot of things. At low ticket, you cannot afford, literally, to be so generic. Okay? You want to speak directly to the problem. So, for example, this class right now could be on sales, but it's not on sales. It's on something more direct, low ticket offers. You see that, right? So since it's on low ticket offers, it's like, oh yeah, wait, I have that problem. That's me. For some reason, I can't sell this. That's relevant to me. Now, I don't know how many people are going to watch this video. I have no idea, but it's more narrow. If I just say, okay, here's my video on sales, like what about sales? There's so much to talk about regarding sales. Okay? So you don't want to be too generic at all with whatever it is that you're selling. If you're doing something with, this is one more example. Let's say you're teaching people how to get in shape or work out. Okay, but what type of workout? Like, is it yoga? Is it CrossFit? Is it jujitsu? And they just go, whatever. Is it Zumba? Like, what is it? Like, what type of workout? And then you go even more narrow than that. Okay, if you can. So you don't want to be too generic. If you're really generic, when it comes to low ticket offers, you're not speaking directly to your audience. And as such, it can be really difficult to sell to them. Doesn't matter. It doesn't require you to have a big following. It doesn't require you to have a following at all. As long as you can get your stuff in front of people and you're speaking to their thing, people will buy. Okay? And let me tell you something else. At low ticket, and this is more of a thing with the seller than it is with the buyer, the seller is too afraid. Okay? For example, why do a lot of sellers attempt to sell low ticket? Because they want to get people in the door, right? They sell low ticket. But they're afraid of what would happen if they charge more for what they have to offer. They go, I can't charge $200 for an ebook. In fact, I've known at least 6 people that have done that. Okay? And people bought it. Didn't matter, right? Because the thing was so packed with value on that particular thing, it was like, holy shit, right? The price, it really doesn't matter. To me, low ticket is about $500 or less. Okay? That's low ticket. Now, you want to say lower ticket, you can say under $100, or a bottom ticket. But bottom ticket is like, $100 or less, but low ticket to me is like $500 or less. Okay. So a reason why people, is that they're too afraid. Not only are they too afraid, or they're too afraid of that, but they're also too afraid of promoting it. Okay, like putting it out there, getting it in front of people, saying, hey, this exists, hey, this exists, hey, this exists. They are terrified of that. They go, man, people are going to get so annoyed with me. Yeah, but do you see movie theaters apologizing for advertising? Like, hey, man, I'm really sorry you guys got so many of our ads. How can we repay you? Like, they don't do that. So why would you? Like, if you look at all the food commercials and the car commercials, this and that, the car dealership isn't going, hey, I know you saw our ad at least 500 times. Our bad. That doesn't happen, right? So if you have something to offer, you can't be too afraid, especially when it comes to low ticket. Okay? So let's recap. 1, they don't know their audience. They're putting out products that they think that their audience wants, but they're not actually paying attention to the needs of their audience. So, crickets, no sales. All right. Next, too generic. It sounds great on paper. Like, hey, I got this amazing health book, or I got this amazing thing over here, but it's so generic, it doesn't actually help anyone, right? Because it's generic. They probably read at least 12 books that are like that, or have seen at least 12 books that are like that one. So because it's too generic, again, why would they buy that? Okay. Now, yes, we can say that the reason that they would is because You are the creator, not the other people. But you're talking about a substantial amount of nurturing that you have to do before that type of selling happens. Okay? You have to do a lot of nurturing. You have to do a lot of relationship building with your audience and this and another. What I'm telling you is you not actually having to do that. You don't need to do as much nurturing and relationship building as you think you do to sell to people. All right? So that's number 2. And number 3, they're too afraid. They're too afraid to promote. They're too afraid of the prices. They're too afraid of all that. You want to get past all of these things in order for you to start selling at a low ticket price. Now, if you're like me and you were someone that came from high ticket and started selling low, this is a dynamic shift because in high ticket, the people tend to already know what they're looking for, right? When you talk to someone, or rather when they talk to you and they start talking to you, they already know what they're looking for. But at the lower ticket product, they have no idea what they're looking for, right? And that's why it's important for you to engage with them. You talk with them. You post content that causes them to tell you exactly what it is that they're struggling with. They may not know what the solution is, but they damn sure know what the problem is, okay? Whereas at higher tickets, they tend to know the solutions, but they don't know where all the problems are. It's in reverse. And so you're like, they come to you and they're like, hey, I could use some help with this. They already know what they need to do. They just don't know all the problems. So they're willing to pay more to avoid all those problems. Say, hey, you don't want to do that because this, and this, right? And they, oh yeah, okay, cool. That's consulting, right? Now I know it's a different video, but this is what happens, okay? So hopefully you learned why it's really tough to sell low ticket. If you're a person who has sold high ticket, you've done high ticket closing or something like that, it can be a challenge, especially because it's a reversal of what it's like on the other side of it, okay? But if you have any more questions or things you'd like me to discuss, feel free to post it in the comments section and I will do what I can to get to it. Otherwise, you have a good one. Subscribe to the channel for more information. Adios.